All right, everybody, welcome out to the Loggerroom Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, April the 15th, 2025. Jersey Johnny coming at you. And not with me tonight, as you can plainly see if you're watching, is not Mr. Samurai. He is off on vacationing and enjoying beer down in the great state of Texas, down in the Austin vicinity. Was planning on coming on, but plans got changed and he could not join us tonight. So, whatchamacallit, you have me. You have just me, and not alone either, because we have a wonderful guest who I want to bring on first, and then we'll go through some of the stuff that Dave and I normally do on that. So, if you would please join me in welcoming to the show, Mr. Michael. There he is, Mr. Michael Broderson. How are you, Mike? Hold on, there you go. You're unmuted now.
Yep, I'm good.
Michael Broderson of Pinelands Brewing. Pinelands Brewing in lovely Little Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey. How are you this evening, sir?
Pretty good. Having a couple beers and relaxing.
Just hanging out. That's exactly what I'm doing as well. First and foremost, happy tax day.
Oh yeah.
Can you actually say happy tax day? Is that a thing? I mean, like, yeah.
I'm not sure really that's the appropriate way to say it. But
kind of a contradiction in terms, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're happy because you got them in and it's done and you can not worry about it until next year. You're good to go, right? That kind
exactly.
Of thing. So, but happy National Tax Day to all who celebrate.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is anybody that celebrates. But,
hopefully
anyway. For those baseball fans out there, happy Jackie Robinson Day.
There you go. That's a better one.
That's a better one. Much better one than Tax Day. Absolutely. I think everybody's wearing 42 tonight, right? That's normally that's what they do. Put on the old Mets game. Yes, that's me, a Mets fan. So. As is Dave, but so he backed me up on that one, but I'm not sure what you're a fan of. So
well, it's not the Mets, but
it's not the Mets. Seeing as you're in South Jersey, is it the Phillies?
No, actually,
you're from Florida, right?
No, I'm actually not from Florida. I'm actually from St. Louis.
St. Louis, so you're Cardinals.
Yeah.
All right, so there. You go.
You could say that, but no.
No, you're not.
I'm simply team agnostic.
Team agnostic. So you're a baseball fan with no allegiance to any particular one team.
I like sports.
That works. I kind of feel the same way too. There's only one team in all of professional sports that I actually can't stand. And what's the pooch's name?
That's Tucker.
Hey Tucker, how are you? Tucker wants to. We get dogs on the show all the time.
Yeah, I'm
very curious.
Kind of the animal room. In the room with me right now, there's 2 cats, a dog, and a snake.
That works.
Yeah,
that works. We've never had a snake on the show. We have plenty of dogs and cats on.
He's hiding, so I don't think I can get him on the show.
Probably not. But yeah, there's only one team, and that's for anybody in Jersey that's a Giants fan, or in South Jersey that's an Eagles fan, we can all agree that it would be the Cowboys.
And you know what? That would have been a great conversation had Rob been able to join us, because he is a Cowboys fan.
He's a Cowboys fan. There you go. I don't. Here's the thing, and that held more water years ago.
Yeah.
Right now, I kind of just feel sorry.
There's a lot of Cowboys fans around here.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of Cowboys fans
in
everywhere.
South Jersey, which is bizarre, but
and North Jersey too. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I went through school with. I mean, we grew up literally miles away from Giant Stadium, and I was in school already growing up before they even moved to Giant Stadium, but still, like right near in North Jersey, and there were so many Cowboys fans, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, being in Jersey, I can kind of understand a little bit not rooting for the quote unquote home team, since they are the New York Giants, and yet they play and do everything in New Jersey, so there's a little bit of resentment sometimes.
True.
But it's It is always interesting to see where people's allegiances lie around here.
It's very weird, because you look at it, like I always said, like I was in school in the 70s and then into the 80s, and anybody that didn't have like a family team, like their fathers or the parents or whatever, uncles, whatever, rooted for, especially in football, the Cowboys were winning, so they went with the winner. They were Cowboys fans.
Sure.
Or the Steelers were winning, and they were Steelers fans. Same kind of thing. So there was a lot of, growing up, there was a lot. There were us Giants fans, and there were some Jets fans, but there were a lot of Cowboys and Steelers fans, just specifically because they were winning. So
okay.
But What are you gonna do? And the Giants and the Eagles really weren't that great,
Yeah.
at the time.
Now,
The Eagles were more incrementally better than the Giants back in the 70s, but not much.
a little bit different today.
It's slightly different today.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I would be remiss, and Dave would be upset if I also didn't say Happy National Rubber Eraser Day. That was the other
Oh,
thing he
wow.
told me. So it is National Rubber Eraser Day.
That's a new one for me. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until he told me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's all about the national days. He does a calendar every month of all of the national days, and he sends it out
Okay.
to people. So, and then we always do 2 or 3 on the beginning of the show every week. So, and he usually ties something into eating. I believe today was also National Glazed Spiral Ham Day, if I remember correctly. So, had he been on the show, he probably would have been eating a piece of glazed spiral ham.
Oh, he
Yeah.
takes it that far.
He takes it that far,
Okay.
depending on what it is. He may or may not have been, but we'll see.
I don't know how well that goes with beer.
Not so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
That seems a little weird.
I do remember, who was it, Heavy Real? A couple of years ago, they did a glazed ham beer,
Yeah.
right?
And I've seen glazed donut beers, but
Right.
yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not drinking them.
Yeah. It was, it was probably, little smoky. I think I tasted it once. I don't really remember what it was. I think it was like pineapple and smoke, I think was basically it. So it was
Okay.
glazed ham.
So no real glaze.
No real glaze. Yeah. It was just,
Okay.
it's just the sweetness in the pineapple. Got it.
Yeah, I
there.
don't
So-
really want to drink ham.
No, neither do I.
Doesn't really sound exciting.
Not so much. No, not so much. All right, let's get started on some questions. Before we
All
do
right.
though, what are you drinking? While I pour
am
my
I
beer, what are you drinking?
Right now I'm drinking 08087, which is obviously a Pinelands beer.
Which is a Pinelands beer. I unfortunately did not have any Pinelands beer that I could drink on the show tonight. So I am drinking 2 others. I'll start with this one I'm going to pour right now. Why don't you tell everybody while I pour it what the beer you're drinking
08087?
is? Yeah, 08087.
So 08087 is our citrus pale ale. It's brewed with mosaic hops, so it's got a little bit of a citrus and fruity flavor to it. Mostly the the flavors that come with mosaic, which are typically melon type flavors.
It is a very good beer. I've had it multiple times.
Yeah,
And I definitely
it's
enjoy
been
it.
around for a while.
As is my neighbor's German Shepherd that you can hear.
I can hear that.
Yes. He's right on time. Right about this time every night, actually, not just
Oh, yeah?
Tuesday nights. Yeah. So he
And what are you drinking?
I am drinking, I'll throw it. I got the crawl up here for this one. A port out Starboard Home from Coastal Brew Works.
Oh, one of yours.
This I know, shocker, right? But it's a 5% ESB with rye. So I did
Okay.
two beers tonight. The 2 beers I'm doing tonight, drinking tonight, are classic English styles with a different with a twist, if you will.
Okay.
So this one is an ESB with rye, though. And
Okay.
when I have the other one, you'll see what that is. So
I love
but,
rye.
Yeah,
We just did a rye IPA and came out really nice.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I love a good rye IPA. I love anything with rye.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a rye. You can call me a rye filler. There
There's
you go.
not enough of them.
That's for
And
sure.
there's not a lot of them, but the few that are out there, they usually come out really well, and
They do.
it provides a nice little spice to the beer. So
Exactly. I'd love it if I can find a Roggen beer. I definitely grab it if I see
good
it.
luck.
I don't know if you saw my hat there.
Yeah, I do see your hat. Yeah,
There you go. So
it's a little small on my screen, but I can see it.
there you go. Right there. So yeah, it's, for those of you just listening to the audio replay, it's a Pinelands Brewing hat. So I figured I'd rep both breweries tonight. So I got Pinelands on. I got my Coastal shirt on. So there you go. So anyway, cheers to you and Pinelands.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I gotta grab mine
Go for it.
and make sure it gets on the camera.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. All right. So let me ask you this. We'll start out with the usual question I ask everybody. We ask everybody to start the show. That's the first time on the show, anyway. To the best of your recollection, what was the first craft beer you ever had?
Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
There you go.
That would absolutely have to, because like the first time I had a craft beer would be early 90s, so
Mhm.
there weren't really many options nationally.
No, there weren't. There
Yeah,
weren't.
and growing up in St. Louis, it was obviously
Anything but,
dominated
or
by
yeah,
Budweiser, and they did not own any craft beer at the time.
this is true. This is true.
So, yeah, early
Now,
90s, I would have to say Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
now, growing up in St. Louis, I ask you this question, just a quick aside from that. Um, Now, we all have our feelings as we do about
Sure.
Anheuser-Busch, right? And it is what it is. Um, I've known people that worked for AB InBev,
Me too.
um, whether in distribution and also in brewing too. But one beer that they brewed. Now, I always say this, and I've said this on the show a million times. So those of you that listen to the show often, you're going to hear a story that you already heard. So I'll make it short, just for Mike's sake. But um, even when I was a kid, right, drinking, like a friend of mine's older brother, got us some beer or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And he'd come over and say, "Hey, my brother got us a Budweiser. Okay, do you have any soda?" I wouldn't drink it, and it's not because I didn't want to, be cool, or not didn't like beer or anything like that. I very much enjoyed beer then, but Budweiser and Bud Light always gave me a headache, and I don't mean the next morning. I mean while I was drinking it, I
Yeah.
got a headache.
And
So.
I've known a lot of people like that, and
Mhm.
it's typically attributed to the rice in the brew.
Absolutely. No, I definitely agree with it. It's got to be it's got to be the way they use it though, or the style of rice, because there are rice lagers out there that I love, and I can drink them all day and
Mhm.
not get a headache. So it definitely has something to do with their either brewing technique or the specific rice that they're using.
Could be the
Or
yeast.
could be, could be. But I will tell you this though, Michelob, not Mick Ultra or any of the shit that they do now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
Michelob back in the day, that was
Right.
actually a decent beer.
Proper Michelob.
Proper Michelob was actually a decent beer, and the Michelob Bock that they had,
I don't think I ever had that
yeah,
one.
it's actually a good Bock. It was actually
No.
pretty good. There are much better box out there. Obviously, you get
Sure.
something from Germany, it's going to blow it away. But for what it was actually very, very drinkable. It was very good.
Yeah. Back
So,
then, I used to drink a lot of Busch and Busch Light, so,
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't drink much Bud and Bud Light either. I
nah,
used to drink Busch and Busch Light, so
back in the yeah, my go-to macro lagers were Jenny Cream,
oh, there you go.
um, um, Molson,
Okay.
Golden, and Rolling Rock. Yeah,
We had some Rolling Rock every now and then,
yeah.
but typically, I mean, in St. Louis, you stick with with what's
Well,
easy,
yeah.
what's cheap.
And Rolling Rock was at the time. Rolling Rock was independent, and now it's AB
Yeah,
InBev owned.
right.
So yeah, so it's kind of weird,
It was
but
expensive, though.
it was definitely more expensive than drinking Bud or
Yeah.
grabbing a Miller. Yeah, but Sierra Nevada Pale, yeah, that's definitely a go-to. It's probably that's probably the number one response from anybody, and this is our 225th show. That's
Yeah.
probably the number one response.
I mean, if they're over 35, there weren't many choices,
No, 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 no.
right? I mean,
Number two was mine and Dave's, which was back in like you can't say even mid 80s, like mid of later 80s, like 86, 87, was Sam, Boston
okay.
Lager, but Sierra Nevada Pale, like,
Yeah.
very quickly followed that.
Yeah.
And Harpoon IPA too was up there. But
Yeah.
we were over here though. You were in St. Louis, so it was a little
Yeah.
bit more difficult for you to.
Yeah. I mean, Sam's obviously gonna be more prevalent here in the 80s and 90s
Right.
than back where I was. But, yeah, I mean, I couldn't even remember. I mean, because I did go to Florida in '94, and then the shelf changed,
Sure, that's for
down
sure.
there, but, and then but I got into brewing in '94 too, so I started, and then in when I joined the homebrew club, they introduced me to all kinds of stuff, but honestly, by then I was just drinking mostly homebrew.
Right,
So I
right,
wasn't even really drinking a lot of craft beer per se, commercial craft beer, I should say.
sure.
I was doing a lot of home brewing and drinking a lot of my own stuff. So
That, and thinking back to those days of homebrewing and everything else back then, um, that was pretty much the norm, because you're
oh yeah.
brewing so much. There's no opportunities to drink anything other than what you're brewing, and especially if you're in a club, you're drinking
Yeah.
everybody else's beers too.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean when I was in college, I was in a club and the club used to meet at the only brew pub in Tallahassee,
right,
because brew pubs were not huge back then. So we would meet at so we were either drinking their beer or our beer.
Right.
And then, you're in college, so you drink whatever the hell is wherever you happen to be.
Right. Exactly. But I find it, it's changed a little bit now. It's similar now, but those just getting into it now
Yeah.
and the homebrew clubs and such, there is a certain amount of not, I don't say mass market, but definitely local market craft beer drinking too, as well as the home brews. But I think that's because I think that's also because there's a lot more available local
Yeah.
now than there was 30 years ago. So
Oh
30
yeah.
plus years ago. So big time. So cool. And one other question, and we'll get back into we'll jump right back into where you segued us. What was the first craft brewery you ever visited? I guess we'll just call it that brew pub then, right? Like, what we would say brewery, because we don't even say craft brewery. It's what was the first brewery you ever visited? Because mine was Molson.
Well, yeah, I mean, mine was Anheuser-Busch.
Anheuser-Busch. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was probably there when I was 4 years old, but it's the first one I remember because growing up in St. Louis, where else do you go?
Exactly. And you know what? I always say Molson too, because I was up in Montreal in I guess it was 86. I want to say 86, but I definitely was in Busch Gardens in Tampa and Busch Gardens in Virginia before that, and I was definitely in the breweries. So I mean, I guess you could call it that for me too. So
well, yeah, I mean, some of them have I guess they all have breweries.
They all had breweries. They all did their local
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, they didn't get all of that. They didn't have. It wasn't a huge brewery like there was in in St. Louis or Newark or anywhere else. But it's definitely they definitely had some small batch stuff going on. There on a smaller level anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's dive back into that. So you go down to Florida, you go down to Tallahassee, to college, and you're home brewing. You join a homebrew club. Take it from there. What was the first thing you? Well, I'll ask you this, and then we'll take it from there. What was the first beer you brewed?
The first beer I brewed was before I went to Florida. I actually brewed it. I brewed it in St. Louis at home, but I believe it was a pale ale, but it's been so long. I can tell you it was crap. It was an extract brew brewed on the stove and was not great. Moved on to more IPAs and did an Oktoberfest one year for a festival that we were doing. But I mean, I've brewed. Back then I brewed Belgians and Scottish strong ales.
Oh, nice.
Things like that. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's nice when you do smaller batches for yourself and you can be a little more experimentatious.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's for
do
sure.
Things that you can't do commercially.
That's 100% true. What was the name? Is the homebrew club, to your knowledge? I don't know if you even know, but is the homebrew club you were in Florida? Is it still?
I have no idea.
What was the name of it?
I don't even remember.
You don't remember? Just
no.
non-named homebrew club. Yeah. The homebrew club. That's cool. Some shout outs because there's a lot of homebrew clubs even from back then that are still still in existence. A couple in New Jersey, and then I'm sure and a few that I know elsewhere, but I'm sure there's a lot that feel that way, or that are that way. But a couple people that have been on always gave a shout out to them. Hey, they're still there. I still talk to these guys every now and then, and that kind of thing. And it's been 25, 30 years since
it's been 30 years. Right. 28, 30 years since I've been there. And I do remember the president's name was John, and he owned the local homebrew store.
There you go. That's usually the way.
All I remember.
There's somebody from the homebrew store is involved with it.
Exactly. Always. Not anymore, though, because the homebrew store is now Amazon. So,
well, this is true.
Things have changed.
The global homebrew store is called Amazon, right? This is true. All right. So what say you're brewing for obviously in St. Louis before you went to college, and then now did you come to Jersey after college? You stayed in Florida for a while, or did you go back to Missouri?
Manhattan, then Jersey? Yeah.
Okay. After college, you went to Manhattan, then Jersey. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what brought you up to what got you to Manhattan?
Work, just jobs. Yeah.
Anything of interest or just
things
you were doing after college, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I was in software IT world doing well, when I was in Manhattan, I was doing garbage, but that's why I wound up in Jersey. Was actually found a interesting job that actually suited my skill set. So
There you go.
yeah, but got the job in Manhattan, but wasn't really what I was looking for.
Gotcha.
So moved to Jersey, kind of took it over from there, and then that's when I was able to actually get back into homebrewing because in Manhattan it's a little tough
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
finding
There's
stuff, finding time, and having room to actually do it.
the room is the biggest part of it.
Yeah,
Everything's a factor, but the room is definitely part of it.
yeah, yeah. It
Um,
was super inconvenient.
exactly. Sorry about that. All
All
right.
good.
So you got to Jersey. What year-ish we talking? You
2000 ish, 2001.
2001. All right. So you've
Yeah,
been that's a bit of a while. So
yeah.
24, 25 years. Quick post here, a comment. Dave Satula. Hi guys from Colorado. Dave, how's it going? How's everything in Colorado? Missed you since you left Jersey. Used to former brewer Jersey girl, Dave
Oh,
Satula.
okay.
Moved out to Colorado and started brewing out there. So let us
Nice.
know how it is. You gotta and Dave, seriously let me know where you're at if you want to come on the show from out there, or if you just want to come on the show with Chuck too. That'll be a fun show too. But how are you, Dave? Cheers. Anyway, all right. So, did you do anything else in brewing before getting involved with Pinelands?
Commercially, no. This was my first foray, and I mean, back in, I started working with Pinelands and brewing with Pinelands back in 2014. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity to do anything in brewing back then.
No.
So, the most of it was, small at night, like, just working on the side type projects. There were very few that were full-time brewers back then, especially in Jersey.
Yeah, this is very true. Very
So,
true. And that's only not even well when you're talking about 2014. That's
yeah,
no more than 2 years after the
the law
expansion,
changed.
the laws changed, and
Yeah.
so at that point there was I think 12 breweries before the law
Um,
changed, 12 or 13.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what number we actually were, but I always thought we were in the low 20s.
Yeah, that would sounds about right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, that also could include some that had closed before that, and
Oh, it definitely did because
yeah,
there was Turtle Stone, there was
right.
Tuckahoe, which Tuckahoe just closed. Turtle Stone
Well,
a long
no,
time ago.
Tuckahoe was after us, I think. I
Tuckahoe
think
was it?
Tuckahoe opened in later in 14.
I thought
Later
they
in 14 or
I thought
15.
they I thought they were flipped. I thought it was the opposite way, but okay,
No, I think they were after us.
fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a couple that closed that were in that,
Yeah.
yeah, before. So yeah, that'll bring it down numbers wise a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, you definitely. I mean, you're talking OG. It's
Yeah.
those nine guys, but you're talking OG from the law changed. Pinelands is definitely one of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've been
Absolutely.
around for a long time.
Mhm. So what got you involved with how did you connect with Pinelands?
So I wasn't one of the original guys that started it, but I showed up on week 2 and they were
I was going to
closed.
say because I remember you from
Yep,
like really early. So I mean
yep.
you
I think I was traveling on week 1 when the weekend they opened. I think I was traveling and I couldn't go. And I showed up on week 2 and they were closed. And I later found out it was because they ran out of beer on week 1.
makes sense.
So I was there on week 3 because back then they were only open like 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So you had to wait a whole week in order to actually go. So I showed up and I met all 5 owners at the time, and the guy who did all the brewing, all the beer work, asked me if I would come in to help them brew because I was the only person there that actually knew anything about brewing. So aside from him,
Aside
obviously.
from him, well, yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
obviously. But yeah, like there were 5 partners. 1 knew how to brew and 4 did not.
Gotcha.
So I went in and started helping him brew, and basically started cleaning pots until everybody else felt comfortable,
Right.
and then started brewing with him, and then kind of took over the brewing after a while.
Gotcha.
So, and then that's kind of where I wound up where I am today.
And there you go. And at what part how long after you started doing that did you like, become
an owner.
become an owner?
It was about 3.5 years, I would say. So I took over most of the operations in 2017. We're still 5 partners, but I do all the finance and business stuff and the brewing. And Rob, who couldn't make it today, he does all the sales and taproom operations type stuff.
Gotcha.
And he came even later than me. So he came in
in
19.
He came after you. Yeah. There's by the way, folks, Rob Shea, right? He was
Yep.
supposed to be on the show Tuesday night. So it was supposed to be 4 of us, and it wound up being just 2 of us. He's a little under the weather. So best wishes for Rob. Gets his voice and his feet back on under him soon enough. But there's the pooch again.
Yeah, she's stepping on my keyboard. So
gotta love it. Dave actually just posted another comment. He says, "Miss you guys too. Yeah, we miss you. Things are going well. He's brewing Oscar Blues. He's brewing.
That's nice.
Hey, I would absolutely be fine if you want to come on with Oscar Blues, or if you know what, Dave. Honestly, we can have Oscar Blues on, and it can be you. So that's fine. So I'll reach out to you. We'll talk." But he said, "Cheers right back at you, Dave. Thanks for tuning in." All right, so. Obviously, the history of Pinelands, you were there from the beginning, even though you weren't an owner until 3 years in or so. So how did obviously all of this? How did Pinelands start out? The original 5. How did they get it together?
So Pinelands started really with 2 guys, and just one of them a brewer, and one of them that just kind of could get shit done.
You need a guy like that.
And that's really what it was. I mean, they wanted to start something. They wanted to, to try and create this brewery. And Jay Chapman, who's still one of our partners, he was the brewer guy, and Luke McCooley was kind of the business guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they approached a couple of different towns and didn't really work out because nobody really knew what it was at the time. There was very little information. Most towns, nobody had it on their, quote unquote code books at the time. So they didn't know how to classify it. A lot of towns, several towns actually rejected them. And then they wound up in Little Egg Harbor, and Little Egg kind of welcomed them in. And, they brought on a couple more partners for money and resources, and got it started. And then, the garage that we're in now. So they started with 1 garage and a home-built brew system that was called Brewhemoth, made out of wrought iron and random parts, and giant pots that Jay had acquired from an old cidery or something. And we made, commercial beer the homebrew way, essentially.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and it was dirty, and it was hot, and it was messy, and I'm thankful for the equipment I have today, but I do remember those days, and I'm glad I went through it. But yeah, I'm glad they're over too.
Yeah, walk before you can run, right?
Yeah, that was. I would say now I walk, because it's a hell of a lot easier to brew on the equipment I have now.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
right. I mean,
running around then is when you were doing run before you should walk. Run, but yeah, if you look at it like that, it's the opposite. Run before you can walk. Yeah,
yeah. And it also didn't help that we used to, we all had full-time jobs, so we used to brew it. We would start around 6 o'clock at night and end around 2 o'clock in the morning.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Now I get to brew.
Go home, go get 4 hours sleep, and go to work.
Right. Now I can brew whenever I want, but
how many barrels were you brewing on that on that Brewhemoth?
3 barrels.
It was a 3-barrel system.
Give or take. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
somewhere
it was
3 barrels ish.
Perfect measurement. It was not a perfect measurement, but yes, it was about
93 gallons ish, somewhere right around
ish. Yeah.
Well, there's still, there's a production brewery in Jersey. Was it just I guess it's just up from you a little bit in Waretown. Was it Oyster Creek?
Yeah.
They have a 1-barrel system.
No, Oyster Creek is now a 5-barrel system.
Oh, they expanded.
Oh yeah.
I was not aware of that.
He started off, I believe, as a 2-barrel. But
maybe, you're right. It wasn't 1 barrel.
Yeah,
2 barrels. 2 barrels.
He upgraded 4 years ago
Was it that
to
long?
I think it's a Blickman Electric 5-barrel.
Wow, because he still
Yeah.
has all of his. The last time I was there, now granted, it hasn't been for a while, but it was definitely after that.
Yeah.
He still had all of his smaller tanks.
He might.
Yeah, he
I know
definitely
he
had them.
bought 2
We had
H
Chris. We had Chris on the show before he upgraded because he was
Yeah.
definitely a 2-barrel when we had him on the show. But that's got to be 4 years ago now. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, so we have an HG tank 5-barrel unitank, and I know he has 2 of those because to save on shipping, we had all 3 of them shipped to his place, and then
oh,
we just
cool.
went and picked one up in a
Oh,
truck.
there you go. That's cool.
Yeah,
That works.
because he got 2, we got 1, so we're like, we'll just ship it to your place and we'll come and get it. So, and it saved both of us a lot of money on shipping.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, but I know he has 2 5-barrel unitanks from HG, and and I know he got the electric system. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I was mistaken on that, but yeah, you're right. I was mistaken with the 1-barrel. It was definitely 2 that he had,
yeah.
but yeah, when he was on the show, he had 2, and I've been there a couple of times since he was on the
Mhm.
show, but I haven't talked. I actually the last time I talked to Chris was when he was on the show 4 years ago. The couple of times I went there, he wasn't. He
That's
wasn't
because you
in.
didn't
So
come to AC Beer Fest.
this year I didn't go to AC Beer
Yeah,
Fest.
he was at AC Beer Fest. That's the last time I talked to him.
I had my cousin's son's wedding was that Saturday. So I had to go to it. It's a family thing. I had to be there only because next Saturday, a week from this Saturday, is my daughter's wedding, and everybody's going there. So I couldn't not go to his son's wedding and go to a beer fest, and then so it's a whole family reciprocity thing, right? But in any event, whatchamacallit, yeah. So that was I definitely missed going. How was it anyway? How
It was a
was
good show?
I mean, this is the first time it was back in the well, no, it's not the first time it was back in the
No,
convention
last year was
center.
inside
Last
too.
year, no, we were there last year, but it
Yeah.
was the first time that he did it just 2 sessions on a Saturday, nothing else.
It's fun. I mean, it's the first time I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
It
was it. And it was a good show. I mean, they did a nice job. So we had fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun. I love AC.
Yeah.
I love going to I love AC Beer Fest. I love John. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And
John's fun.
always a fun time down there.
Usually a little frazzled on AC Beer Fest.
Always frazzled. Always frazzled. At some point during the session, one of the sessions, he comes over and has a beer with you at your booth and just, takes a breath and pulls a cigar out of his mouth long enough to take a sip of beer and talk to you for a minute. But yeah, no, he's a good guy. John's a good guy. We've had him on the show a bunch of times. Yeah, I've known John. I've known John since he started. I was at his first beer fest in 06.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So that was 06. Yeah, it was 06. Yeah, that was fun. Anyway, but yeah, okay. So what size brew house are you guys using right now?
We're currently a 7-barrel brew house.
7-barrel brew house and 7s and 5s, and what's your capacity?
So it's like 70 barrels in fermenter space.
Nice.
Yeah, we've got a couple of 15s, like 5, 7 barrels, and a 5-barrel for smaller stuff.
Nice, nice. Double batch into the 15s, of course.
Obviously, yeah.
Obviously. So, cool. That's great.
Or triple batch if you're doing a really high gravity and you.
Well, yeah, that's true.
At the time, but that's rare.
And it's rare that you do that, but it's also rare that you would do like a 15% beer, 15 barrels of a 15% beer.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, we're just not that big.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, it's all good. It's all good. All right. Cool. What? Talk about some of your flagship beers. Obviously, 08, 07.
Yeah, 08's one of them. We sell, we do a lot of 08. Our main flagship, our best seller is Swamp Donkey.
Swamp Donkey's great.
Yeah, that's the one everybody typically knows, and it's it's also got the most memorable name. So it's hard to forget. So yeah, Swamp and 08. Lately, we've had a lot of interest in one of our new ones, which is the Little Egg Pilsner. That's kind of taken off lately, and that's soon to be one of our new flagships. Something we should have year round.
I'll be honest with you. I'm loving the fact that lagers and pilsners are definitely, getting to the point now where everybody is,
Yeah.
there's a lot of demand for them, and it's not just something that brewers and brewery owners want to drink and nobody else does, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's that's kind of a big problem. Is you walk into a brewery and you talk to the owner, and it's like, yeah, I make these beers, and I'm like, do you drink them? No, hell no.
Nope, not at all.
I drink all the other ones that nobody else wants.
Right,
And the nice thing about lagers and pilsners is you can still actually walk in, and anybody who calls it a pilsner, it's probably pretty close to what a pilsner always was.
right.
And obviously, I'm taking a little dig at all the bullshit that's happened with IPAs in the last 10 years. Because 10 years ago, I could walk into a bar and order an IPA, and I kind of knew what I was getting.
Right.
Nowadays, you could
Not
be
so
getting-
much.
Yeah, like nowadays, you could be getting a pina colada.
It's so
And
ambiguous of a term now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
it's an obnoxiously ambiguous term.
Yeah,
So,
it's insane.
but yeah, you order a pilsner, you're probably getting a pilsner.
That's you gotta love that. You gotta love that. All right, so your pills and what else? I was just gonna say how often do you do? You still doing Evan John?
Yep, Evan John. Yep, we got it on.
That's
tap
one of my
right now.
favorites.
So we typically do that September through the winter till it runs out.
So it's a seasonal.
Yeah, I mean it's 3/4 of a year,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how much of it I brew. Like usually in January, February, I'll brew a big batch, so it'll last us a little bit longer.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of whenever it runs out, it runs out. But
And you don't brew it again until September.
August or September, depending on how the schedule runs. But yeah, I mean that's it. It's a light enough beer. It's a light porter, so it's light enough that you can drink it in the summer and people love it in the summer, but it's just not as big of a seller in the summer.
Yeah, I drink porters all summer, so
Yeah.
But yeah, I've probably been one of the guys that bought like the last 4-pack or 6-pack or whatever you had of it
Nice.
in the brewery. So yeah, you gotta love that. But no, it's a really tasty porter. Any of these beers, by the way, anybody listening, if you're in Jersey or if you're anywhere near Pinelands, get down there. Mike's brewing really good beer. And if he has Evan John Porter, definitely have it. And I got to get down there and have some of that Pilsner. I haven't had that.
Come on in.
Yeah, I could take a ride down. It's such a long ride from Belmar down to you. So
Yeah.
that's going to take me 40 minutes and I'll be there. So.
Yeah, 40 45 minutes, depending on traffic.
Yeah, it's just, well, I'll leave accordingly. So it's only 40 minutes. So. But in any event, anything coming up interesting on the brew schedule?
On the brew schedule.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Blueberry. Our blueberry ale is one of our yearly favorites, yearly bestsellers.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just brewed it yesterday and today, so it'll be coming out soon. We have a red ale that we're going to be canning in the next couple of months.
Nice.
And there was one more, and now I don't remember what the hell it was. But yeah, got one other beer that we were going to can. So
gotcha. Talk about the red ale for a minute. I'm interested in
the red ale. We have some on tap right now, but it's coming out in cans probably midsummer. It's called Stepchild. It's a classic.
I like that.
Redheaded Stepchild. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's called Stepchild. But it's a classic red ale. It's a little on the hoppy side, but we don't call it an IPA. It's just a red ale. It's not hoppy enough for me to call it an IPA. But it's got a nice malty backbone, good reddish amber color to it, and just drinks wonderfully. It's 5%, I believe, and it's just one of those you can drink all day long.
Nice, that's awesome. Love a good red ale.
Yeah,
and a hoppy red ale, whether it's like I said, red IPA is fantastic too.
Red IPAs are fantastic.
Red IPAs are fantastic, but just if it's not hoppy enough to call it a red IPA, but red ales, a lot of people are going to release the red ales, for a little
for St. Patty's Day.
For St. Patty's Day, but
yeah.
Anybody, I pat on the back anybody that releases a red ale any other time during the year other than St. Patty's Day, because you're doing it because you love the beer. and that's what I want to really
and that's just it. Like it's a great beer. It doesn't have to be tied. It's not an Irish beer. It's
No,
not,
it's an Irish red. It's just a red.
it's just a red ale.
Right.
It doesn't need to be tied to anything. It's, and we didn't give it a name tied to anything.
Right.
Stepchild is
Exactly.
Stepchild.
That's fantastic. On your canning note, distribution and everything else. Now, you guys obviously, it's been a little bit of it. It's been, I guess, almost a couple of years now.
What's that?
You had a distribution change.
Oh yes, Hunterdon.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've always self-distributed.
Sure.
That's something that we always did. It was an agreement we had with Hunterdon. When Hunterdon went out of business, we were sold, for lack of a better term, to another company. Didn't work out with them, so we have since parted ways, and now we are 100% self-distribution.
Very good.
So the only way you can get our beer is directly from us. We will, we sell it, we deliver it, we manage it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So everything. So and you're servicing the whole state?
God no. We're mostly between Monmouth, Ocean, a little bit of Burlington, and Atlantic.
Okay.
So the idea is to expand, but currently we're in just those 5 counties.
Well, that footprint's working for you right now.
For now, yeah.
So because you're still selling through the brewery,
the tap room,
and the tap room and everything else. So Monmouth, Ocean, Atlantic, and a little bit of Burlington. Did you get all the way over to Western Jersey and Burlington, or just the area of Burlington that's between Ocean and Atlantic?
Yeah, I mean it's like, and sometimes I forget which is Atlantic and which is Burlington. It's all blurry out there, but
right.
Like out 206 and that area.
Yeah. Right.
So past a little past Hamilton, Berlin area,
Mount Holly and over.
Yeah,
and come that way.
Yeah, but not much further than that. So west, yes, but not all the way to the sea or to the river.
Right, we have pretty much a line. The 206 is kind of a line to where Ocean comes over and Monmouth comes down. Right. That's pretty much a border right there. So.
Well, and it's hard for us not to be in Burlington to some extent, because if you look at the map, just south of Little Egg, before you hit the river, you can't get to Atlantic without going through
Burlington. Right, exactly.
But it's such a tiny little sliver that 99% of people don't know it's there.
Yeah.
So one of our big accounts, Breeze's Dock Bar, right?
Yeah.
Breeze's is in Burlington County.
Yeah, they are.
Right. And it's 5 miles away, and it's just this little bitty sliver that barely touches, and yeah.
That's great. Gotta love geography.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
You gotta love the guys who drew the lines. That's
right. Yeah.
They drew some weird lines.
Yeah. And I just saw not that long ago. Somebody had it up on Facebook, of course. That I never knew this. There were. I knew there were less counties at one point. Because you would figure, right? But I never knew what the lines were. I never saw a map or anything. And somebody put that up, and what you call it? It had like Monmouth County. Actually, I'm. Don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure, if to the best of my recollection, looking at this map, there was no Middlesex. Monmouth was Monmouth and Middlesex. Or most of Middlesex, and even some of Ocean, and then Ocean, or maybe there was, and Ocean was part of Burlington. It was just weird. So somebody after that went and moved lines, and
interesting.
Yeah, so it's strange, how
somebody who wanted some political power.
There had to be some rhyme or reason to it, whether it was politics or
always politics.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. Yeah, right, of course.
Always politics.
It's always politics. But I mean, some of these lines go through forests, right? All right. I guess it's well, most of the ones that go through farce are straight lines. So I guess it was just point A to point B, draw a line, and that's it, right?
Right.
But so I just opened my second beer. Did you pour another one? Are you still working?
I did not. I'm upstairs trying to avoid the mayhem downstairs. So.
I got you.
I'll get another beer later.
I got you. My second one I'm drinking is like I said, I'm drinking classic English styles with a twist. The first one was our poured out starboard home ESB with rye. This one is from Sapwood Cellars down in Maryland. It's orange crema. It's a dark mild. All right. But it's a dark mild with I'm just gonna say right here. Pour it there. It's dark mild with orange zest, coffee, and vanilla added.
Interesting combination.
And I haven't had it yet. I haven't even taken a sip of it yet. So I will try it right now, and I will let you know how it is. Yep, that is a dark mild with. You know what? I'm just getting a little bit of the vanilla. I'm definitely getting the coffee. It's not overpowering, but it's there. I don't get any orange zest, but it might just be, between the vanilla and the coffee,
Right.
orange zest isn't really going to poke its way through too much.
Right.
So, it's good. It's good. It's I'm getting more of a thin coffee porter than anything, but it's definitely a mild. It's definitely a mild. You can tell it's a mild, but I'd like a little less coffee in it, but it is tasty. It's interesting. So there you go. That's my second beer. That was a Tavour special. Yeah, I've calmed myself down and spending too much money on Tavour.
Never did Tavour.
There's some really good beers out there. There's some really good breweries that we can't get in Jersey that I love the beer they're brewing, and anytime they have it, I'll start. That's what it is, right? One of those breweries will have something that I have to have.
Yeah.
So I'll buy a couple cans of it, and it'll just sit in a crate, and I'll extend the crate for 4 or 5 months, and I'll just keep it. I'll wind up 4 or 5 months later. I'll wind up only getting like 12 beers. But it's just stuff I want to get.
And now they're old beers.
What's that?
Now they're old.
Well, no, I don't. Well, that's just it. It might not be. I'm exaggerating a bit. 4 or 5 months, right? A little bit less than that. But I also don't put any IPAs in there. I'm talking like bigger barrel-aged stouts or barrel-aged barley wines. A dark
age
things that won't be affected by 3 months sitting in a cold box in somebody's warehouse in Seattle, right? But and also some things that won't be affected by sitting in a box being transported in a non-refrigerated vehicle from Seattle to New Jersey.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No IPAs do I get.
So you're not ordering in August.
Not happening. No. Yeah. If I start a crate in like June, I don't get it till October. So it's in a cold box.
That's good. Yeah. Because August is a really bad time to have
not really a good
on a UPS truck.
Exactly. Not so much.
With no air conditioning.
Not so much now. So, but they do have a lot of good. There are a number of really good beers from breweries. Sapwood Cellars I get. Elder Pine. Sapwood Cellars and Elder Pine. They're in Maryland, so I can get down there. I can take a ride down there. Matt was just down at Elder Pine a few weeks ago, and there was a couple of beers on Tavour I was about to order, and I knew he was going. I said,
easier to
just pick me up. Well, that's it. Just pick me up a 4-pack of each while you're there. Done. Just type that for an open. There we go. All right. So you guys did AC Beer Fest. How many events do you normally do throughout the year?
Oh, I mean, anywhere from 12 to 18. I mean, some
local stuff too, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them are smaller local, like this month, next weekend, not this coming weekend, but next weekend we've got the Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Department's festival.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only going to be 5 breweries there.
Gotcha.
It's just a locals party. And then, the following month, actually, I guess right after Memorial Day, we've got, one of the local campgrounds does a chili cook-off with 5 breweries, like little stuff like that, all, local stuff.
That's awesome though. I love
that. And we probably do more local stuff than we do the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be AC Beer Fest, Manahopkin, which is no more.
It's definitely done now. They're not.
Yep.
They're
done. Yeah, they sent out an email to all the vendors and said, "Yeah, we're done." I have heard rumors that some of the guys may try and start something new, smaller, but nothing concrete on that yet. Just rumors.
Gotcha.
And then we'll do Seafood Fest and maybe a couple others here and there, depending on what happens. But
talking about the Down Beach Seafood Fest.
Yeah,
that was fun. The one
it
you
is.
That was fun.
It's all right. Yeah.
We were a couple booths away from each other, I think, when we did it.
Yeah.
So, but and that's small too. That's only 12 or 14 breweries too at that.
Yeah, I think last year I think it was 10 or 11. I think it was 10, but it was supposed to be 10, but then Royal Vine jumped in, who isn't really a brewery yet, so it might have been 11. But yeah,
I got you. Cool. All right. And what's so the next on the next is the Beach Haven one a week from this weekend.
Yeah, week from Saturday.
And I'll be in Long Island walking my daughter down the aisle.
There you go. Yeah. So you won't be in Beach Haven.
I won't be in Beach Haven.
Yeah. I think I will.
I may be consuming alcohol that day at some point.
Well, you should be. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
it's a happy occasion.
It's a very happy occasion.
Consuming
Absolutely.
alcohol.
I can neither confirm nor deny there would be some of these cans at the cocktail hour and the reception. So, but and as well,
I'd be disappointed if there wasn't.
As well as our Schwartz beer and maybe an IPA too. I'm not quite sure, but we'll figure that out. I got to bring them out with me on Thursday. So, anyway, let's do our top 3 list.
Okay,
let's do a top 3 list. Folks, Mike and I went back and forth today on what we were going to do for a top 3 list. It wasn't Dave, since he wasn't involved, and obviously Rob wasn't either. But we decided that our top 3 list tonight would be, lo and behold, top 3 favorite beers to drink while doing your taxes. Top 3 favorite beers to drink while doing your taxes. And we discussed what we were doing before. Mike, have at it first.
Oh, you want me to go first?
I want you to go first.
All right. So I haven't actually done my own taxes in a really long time. So it's more like, what beers do I want to drink while I'm talking to my accountant about him doing my taxes? He prefers Tucker's, by the way, which is a double IPA.
Does he? Yeah, right. Fair enough.
He does not drink while he's doing my taxes, I don't think.
Let's hope.
But typically I would start with something light, like a pale ale. I like a nice pale ale, probably a Sierra, something like that. And, just to get the ball rolling, it's nice, low, easy drinking.
Sure.
Move on to an IPA, as things get a little bit tougher. And when I'm done at the end, I'm probably drinking a barley wine.
There you go.
Yeah. And, either, depending on what you can get, either a Bigfoot or if I can get it, Insanity. But
that's a good beer.
Yeah, Blithering Idiot or Insanity are always go-tos.
They are. Blithering Idiot and Insanity are 2 very good beers.
Yeah.
Bigfoot's great too.
I love Bigfoot. That was actually the first barley wine I ever had. It was one of the first craft beers I ever had. And I still have some aged ones downstairs, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, I sit on Bigfoot, not as much as I used to. I have a few, but I definitely, as far as Sierra Nevada goes, I have years of Celebration, which is weird because it's an IPA.
Yeah,
but those hold up. They do.
Yeah, and
you can't. I mean, you can't drink a 20-year-old one. Obviously, that's not.
Well, and it's like they say, like Dogfish 120.
Right.
Everyone thinks it's an IPA, but it's really not an IPA.
It's a barley wine.
It's more like a barley wine.
It's a barley wine. Yeah.
And if you remember the old world when we actually used to have the beer periodic table, and you look at everything, and IPA and barley wine were actually fairly similar in style, but barley wine actually had more hops in it.
Yeah.
it had a higher IBU typically than the IPA on the table.
Oh, absolutely. American barley wine, anyway, not so much an English barley.
Yes, but you know what? But they age super well, and the higher alcohol IPAs age well too.
Right.
And
Yeah, they do.
I love them. Now the hazy ones, forget it. They're not.
You can't. No, hazy ones. You drink that in 3 months, or you're done.
Yeah,
Unless I will tell
Yeah.
you though, I will say, if you get a good canning run, and you have super low DO,
yeah,
those are going to
it's hit or
last.
miss.
It's definitely hit or miss, because I definitely have found a can of maybe a 7 point whatever New England IPA hazy in the back of my fridge that was 6 or 8 months old, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this has got to be garbage. Let me at least pour it out and see what it's like. And I tasted it, and it was good.
Yeah,
It hops
it
faded a
happens.
little bit, but it was
You know what?
drinkable. It was good.
You can find 4% fruit beers that'll taste great after 12 months.
Right.
Like it happens.
It's hit or
Some
miss.
beers just don't go bad,
Yeah.
whether it's low DO or whatever it is, or sometimes they just don't go bad, or sometimes they just age in a way that's actually appropriate and taste good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I always suggest to everybody, but if you find a shelf turd, as they call it, in the bottom, in the back of your fridge that you forgot about, and it's old and you think you want to dump it, pour it first and taste it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Might as well.
you might get it to your nose and say, whoa, I'm not having that, and you dump it out. That's fine, but
You
at
have
least
nothing to lose.
you have nothing to lose. Try it. Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right. So mine, in kind of the same vein as Mike took, when I'm starting out, I gotta start out with something a little lighter. So I'm going to go with a Pilsner, and if I could find it, and I told Mike I'll put beers to this or whatever. At the moment, in my mind, I would probably look for maybe like a Jacobus from Schilling. It's a German lager, German house. It's tasty Pilsner. So then once I'm really getting into my taxes and I'm in the middle of it and I'm pulling my hair out, it's got to be a double IPA, right? And I would say classic, like 90-minute.
There you go.
Or something to that level. But if you want to stick to something a little bit more modern for anybody listening out there that's big haze boy or juice head or whatever you want to call it. One beer I had not too long ago it's a hazy. It's New England. It's like 8.4%. It's Apiary Drop from Modest in Minneapolis. Fantastic beer. Okay. Really, really good. And from Apiary Drop, obviously you can tell what underlying adjunct might be in it.
Yeah. You think so? You think there's a little honey in there?
A little bit of honey in there.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit. It's not overwhelming.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. It's more sugar to bring the ABV up. That's all it is.
It's got a nice little flavor to it.
That's it. But then I agree with you 100%. When I'm done, they're off. I go like this. I want to pour barley wine. A bourbon barrel aged barley wine, and my go-to would be like a Thomas Hardy's ale.
Oh,
from Hanson's Brewing in Hamlin's Brewing, rather, in England, over in Devon, England. But if I could find one of these, I would open this up.
Oh shit! Yeah. We have that on tap right now.
Gnarly Pine, right there.
Yeah,
barrel aged barley wine from Pinelands Brewing. There you go. So
nice.
Had that. How
old is that?
It is. Is it on here?
Might be. Should be.
It should be. It's not
on the side of the label.
On the side of the label. It is not. It's probably about 5 years old.
Okay.
I would say it's about 5 years old. If I had to guess, could be older, could be a little younger. I'm pretty sure it was before the pandemic.
Okay.
But I don't think it's that. I don't think it was much more before the pandemic. So it's probably 2019. So maybe 6 years old.
Yeah, I went looking for some of those ups. We have like an upstairs area in our storage area, and I went looking for some of those the other day. Somebody was asking me, and I couldn't find any. I found some other older barrel aged stuff that we've still been storing, but I think I sold all the barley wine.
Did you? Yeah, definitely. I had a few of these. I had a couple a little while ago. I think was it last year? It was either last summer or the summer before. I think it was last summer. we had a bottle share, and I pulled one out for it, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We have, I don't know if it would be the same batch that bottle is, but I have one keg, kept it in the fridge for like 4 or 5 years, and put it on tap for our birthday party this year. And we still have a little bit left, but it's phenomenal.
yeah,
It's
so good.
absolutely phenomenal.
So good.
It was probably brewed 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably what this is. It's close
Yeah.
to it. I get it's not on the label though. I'm not trying to
No,
look. It's not on.
I'd have to look.
Yeah. Does the label change, or it's the same label? Like,
Well,
I mean, would the label be different from 6 years ago than a more recent
yeah,
label?
a lot of the bottles we used to put the year on because you're aging them.
Sure.
Should have the year on it, but yeah, I mean, typically,
Oh wait, hold on. I got it right here.
yeah,
I read it the wrong way. It's 7 years old. It's 2018.
2018. Yeah,
2018.
that sounds about right.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I
2018.
mean, I haven't done an actual bottling run in a long time.
It's been a while. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't do bottles.
Gotcha. Yeah, it does.
Not many.
Not many. Although there are a few. And we Matt and I were talking about that, just putting together a small forehead filler. Just to get some to do some bottles, just to do some 500 mils, or even a couple of you see
Yeah.
Kane Kane did their what is it, wooden cleat.
Yeah, I saw the
They
video.
had the 250s,
Yeah.
the little 8.2 ounce bottles or whatever they were,
Yeah.
8.25 ounce bottles. That I'll be honest with you, that first run they did in those small bottles, it's a 15% beer. That was perfect.
Yeah.
That was perfect because I could drink that.
Imagine the pain in the ass of actually
Oh, yeah, of course. No, I don't want to do that, but it was
No.
great. It was great to buy,
No,
as a
it's not.
consumer.
Yeah, I mean, but as a brewer, like we were using a Blickman beer gun. Like, we never did more than 100 bottles.
Right.
Like we didn't have a bottle filler. We were using a Blickman beer gun. You hook it directly up to the tank, and we were doing them by hand. Like that was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
If I had to do those fucking little 250 bottles, and do 300 of them, like, forget it.
Yeah, forget it. It's pain.
I would have. Well, first of all, we probably wouldn't have been standing because you drink while you're doing it,
Of course.
right? So we probably wouldn't have made it through the whole thing and would have knocked all the bottles over, and it would have been fun.
It would have been very fun, very much fun. I'll say it. I got a comment in here. Let me just pull that up and see what it is.
Somebody likes my hair.
It's hold on, I'll put it up. Alfie Logan, what's your opinion on Tennant's Lager?
I don't have an opinion.
I don't have an opinion. I don't either. And he said, Jobby Jabbers. Not sure what that is, but he did say nice hair, mate. I'm assuming we're getting this from London. We do have some viewership over in UK.
Okay.
Especially on YouTube.
It's kind of late over there.
It's a little bit late over there. We had a guy has a brewery in the UK. And he used to, for months, every Tuesday he would tune in. So I mean, it was 11:30 at night, and he'd watch the whole show and he'd comment through the whole show. If we even went 2 hours, 1:30 in the morning, he was still on the show. But he was finished, like he wrapped up shop
right
at the brewery and then sat down with a beer and watched our show. That's what he did. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, cheers, Alfie. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm assuming he's talking to you, Mike, because I have a cap. Unless he likes the cap.
That's what I thought too. Yeah. Except I have no hair, so there's nothing to really.
Then maybe he's talking about my beard. There you go.
Oh, that could be.
There you go. It is hair. So anyway. No, I would definitely not want to bottle in 250s.
Yeah.
But it's a perfect vessel to buy that specific.
I'm perfectly happy just going to Kane and buying their bottle.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't need to do my own. I'll just buy theirs.
There you go. Done. Call it a day.
They do make good beer, so
Mike's making good beer. But yeah, no. So back to the gnarly pine. Yeah, the first time I had it, I mean, when was the first time you brewed it? I mean, it's got to be before that. That was not,
Oh
that wasn't the first batch of that.
no,
Yeah,
first batch would have been either 14 or 15, probably 15. Yeah, and we would brew it for a while. We were brewing it once a year, so and then we skipped a couple of years later on after 18. But I don't think I brewed it last year, but we still have some age stuff that we've been going through slowly.
Yeah, because the first time I had it, and maybe even the second time I had it, there weren't any bottles, or at least when I got there, there weren't any left or whatever. So I only had it at, Bayou down at the tap room. But but when I was there in 18, and you had a bunch of bottles. I think I bought 4 of them. Took them home with me. And this represents the last one from 7 years ago. So I'll have to keep it aside and take a ride down and open it with you.
All right.
There you go. Unless you find
try the one on tap.
I'll take a ride down and have that first, and we'll go from there. So I'll get down there soon, and gotta have the Pilsner and the one that's on tap, and we'll go from there. Awesome. All right. Any improvements, any new things on the horizon coming up for the brewery?
New things? No, I mean, just summer coming up at the Jersey Shore, so we're expecting a busy summer. Just waiting for all the the mass hordes to come out.
Oh yeah. How busy does it get when everybody comes down for the? I mean, I've been there. I know. I'm just asking.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. I mean, it's a 5 to 10-fold increase over the winter. Like it's hard to describe what happens in the summer, but it's not quite like LBI. But we get a lot of the LBI crowd that comes down. Like their population goes from like 5 people to 500,000 people, but
of course,
ours goes from 25,000 to 45,000. So it's a large increase. So yeah, we're typically a lot busier in the summer. So it's a nice time of year for us.
You don't have to talk to me about the summer down the shore. I don't have any parking in front of my house.
Yeah.
So there's always that. I try to not go anywhere in the summer. Otherwise, I have to drive around for 2 hours looking for a place to park 2 towns away, and then take an Uber back to my house.
Yeah. Oh, you're better off just starting with the Uber.
Yeah. If I don't have to go a certain distance, I don't even take my car.
Yeah.
I'll either Uber or I'll take the train too. Because what's really cool about the train down here, south of Long Branch.
Okay.
The New Jersey Transit goes from Long Branch down to Bayhead. Yep. And pretty much stops almost every town along the way.
Yep.
And it's a set rate. No matter where you're going, it's $2.25 or $2.50 or something like that.
Yeah.
Whether I'm going one town over or all the way up to Long Branch, it's only $2.50 or whatever.
And you get off in Long Branch, you can go to the Whitechapel Project, you can go to the Butcher Block, you can go to the hospital, it's all right there.
It's all right there. And then obviously down to Point Pleasant, and, or anywhere. I mean, it's great. We go up to Asbury Park, obviously. That's the thing to do. So, and then if for some reason you miss the train and you want to get up there or get home, then you Uber. It's not a big Uber ride because it's only 3 towns away from Belmar. So
it's a little different to get down here.
A little bit, just a bit. Yeah. And train wise, it's train.
Yeah, there's no train.
There's no train.
There's no train.
You got to take a train to Bayhead and then take an Uber from Bayhead all the way down to Little Egg Harbor. And,
we're like between trains.
You might as well rent a car at that point and drive
to the north. To the north, we got Bayhead, and to the south, we got Atlantic City. But nothing actually makes it to where we are.
Mm-hmm.
So, but back in the day, there were trains that ran out here and through Little Egg over to LBI.
That's crazy.
Yeah, back in the day, there were the Blue Streak or the Silver Streak or something came out through Hamilton and ran right through here. Tuckerton Railroad
right out to LBI.
Yeah,
that's your exit 58 on the Parkway.
58,
right?
Yeah,
58 on the Parkway, and you're only a couple miles from the Parkway too. 2.5 miles.
Yeah, 2-3 miles from the Parkway.
Just a little bit before you get down to Route 9.
Yep.
Yeah. If you hit Route 9, you pass.
You got
to turn around. You went too far.
Yeah.
You got to turn around and go back. Cool. All right. Anything else you want to let anybody know? And
no, I think we covered it.
All right. Any events at the brewery you're having over the summer?
We got our Easter egg hunt this weekend. Nice. So Saturday, what is it, the 19th? We got our Easter egg hunt. So we do a kids hunt, an adult hunt. We got a band. We'll do the, quote unquote golden egg, where we give away tickets to a show or something, or our jitney tour.
Nice.
And yeah. And then we'll have a good time.
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
a buttload of candy.
And a buttload of candy. You can't forget the candy. That's for sure.
Always got candy.
Awesome. And we got one last comment here. Brian Boak just tuned in. He says, out having sake. Cheers, Brian.
Yeah.
Enjoy that sake.
That sounds like a good thing. I might go have a glass of wine.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I mean, Brian's usually on drinking a couple beers, and then he winds up switching to Gentleman Jack after a while.
Oh, there you go.
Tonight, he tuned in late, and he's having sake. So, cheers, Brian.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
Give Rob our best.
I will.
And tell him to feel better.
I will.
And when he does feel better, we'll pick a time for both of you to come on with both Dave and I, and then we can have a bigger conversation about it. But I'll definitely get down soon. I'll let you know when I get down there. It's hold on.
He said I'll be back for beers.
He says I'll be back for beers. There you go. Which we call it. It's not going to be. It might be this weekend actually. I might be able to come down on Saturday. Actually, I gotta see what's going on. I might be.
That's our Easter egg hunt.
So. I might be able to take a ride down. I'll drink while the kids are looking for the Easter eggs. So,
there you go.
There you go.
It's not hard to find them. We don't hide them.
Right.
We just toss them in the yard and watch everybody jump all over each other.
That works.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
But short of that, obviously, with the wedding next week and everything else. So, and then the following week, I got to go to Philly with Jess is running the Broadsheet 10 miler that she does every year. So that's fun. But I'll get down there. So I'll let you know when I'm coming down. But like I said, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Folks, if you're anywhere near Little Egg Harbor, or if you're in Monmouth, Ocean, parts of Burlington, and of course Atlantic County, look for Pinelands beer, Pinelands Brewing beer. It's really tasty. Mike's brewing some really good stuff. You want to get down and have that. Definitely have Swamp Donkey and 08087. But Evan John's my favorite. But I'm a big porter guy anyway. So, and look for the Gnarly Pine. Get down there and have it. Don't drink all of it though, because if I do get down there, I'm going to want some of it. So
yeah, get it while you can.
Get it while you can. Enjoy it. Anyway, on that note, though, we will wrap up the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Log Room. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Pandora, Amazon Music Podcast, YouTube Music, iTunes Music, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes. Pretty much anywhere you can find audio podcasts, you will find the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Mike, once again, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You taking the time and coming on the show with us. Well, with me and you, us. There you go.
Just the two of us.
Absolutely. The audio podcast should be up by Friday. I'll let you know when it's up. We'll post that up, and I'll let you know when I'm coming down. But stay on. I'll talk to you for a minute after we sign off. But on that note, like I said, have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Have for those who celebrate, enjoy Passover. It's still going on, and of course, Good Friday is Friday, and Easter next Sunday, and Tax Day and everything else is here. And we will talk to you next week, folks, when Dave is going to be going live from a brewery down in Austin, Texas, and I'll be with you as well, and we'll have some fun with that. Talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.